radio dial right here. You're locked into the hottest news station on the planet. Hot 702.5 in FM sound. Blazing today's hip hop, R&B, and pop music. Keeping your radio on fire. Bringing you the hottest, realest, riskiest talk shows live 24/7 on hot7025fm.com.
It's your main man 360 the Poet from the Morning Wood. And are you looking for the perfect drink? Well, you found it. Mimosa Royale is the perfect combination of California sparkling white wine and natural juice that is both tasty and refreshing. No artificial colors or flavors, no sugar added, and it's gluten-free. As the world's first ready-to-drink mimosa, Mimosa Royale is perfect for any occasion, day or night. You no longer have to drink 12 of those seltzers just to get that perfect buzz. At 8% alcohol, Mimosa Royale is the perfect drink to party with. Offered in a variety of flavors and sizes, you are bound to find a Mimosa Royale that you'll love. We have berry, mango, apple, and orange, with more flavors to come. Mimosa Royale is the most award-winning flavored wine that serves in bottles or cans. You can find them online at drinkmimosa.com or find them at your local liquor store. Ask for it by name. Mimosa Royale.
Hi. Hey.
What's up? All your favorite artists.
Check it out. Say my name. DJ Khaled. This is Mila J. Bruno Mars.
On hot7025fm.com.
Welcome back. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Happy Wednesday. How are y'all doing? Just so y'all know, man, I've been super, restful lately, which is kind of good, Brain's popping a little bit more, focus is getting a little bit better, things are starting to improve. Kind of helps me that I get more rest. I actually take the time and actually rest up. I'm kind of known for not really resting in general. I just like to work a lot and just keep moving around, not realizing that my body gets tired, you know what I mean? So it's been really nice this last weekend. I took both days off. I just stayed in the house, relaxed, chill with the kids. I made a couple of videos with them. It was pretty fun. It was pretty cool. But all in all, it was a pretty productive week. Can't really say too much about it. Nothing to really complain about, other than the fact that, just keep on going, keep it going. Oh, by the way, really quick, simple thing. I see a lot of y'all are getting y'all refund advances, and just be smart about it. Let's try paying some bills up for a couple months, and then that money you're getting for your paychecks, you could stack up, you could save, you could pay some things ahead to keep up with what you already got going on. That way you ain't got to worry about falling behind later in the year. So when the holiday season come, I'm not going to say it's going to be a cakewalk, but it'll be a little smoother for you to get through that process, See how that kind of works out. If you put yourself ahead at the beginning of the year, you ain't got to worry about falling down at the end of the year. Plus, let's kind of stay in what we can afford in our brackets, Let's not just take that money and blow it. It needs to go somewhere, smart. Something that you actually can need and not just want, Anyway, that's enough said about that. We waiting until the actual tax season is coming because obviously we just don't want to take that risk right now. We get all ours at once. It's something we can wait for. However, good afternoon. With me getting some rest, I've just been in this deep thought, and I kind of want to talk about something today, about the fact that I got the rest and what that kind of looks like, but also what it kind of made me realize in a way, Before we talk about news, before we talk about before we talk about anything else, I want to speak directly to the men, all the men listening right now. I just want to speak directly to you. Today's show is for the man who loves his family, but is tired, just kind of exhausted, I need to say this clearly because a lot of men have never heard, never heard it really said out loud. They pretty much, I think we all think it, but nobody has really have heard it be said out loud on a consistent basis enough for them to kind of understand it. But you can love your family deeply more than anything. You can love them more than every breath you may take. You probably love them more than, but you can still be burnt out. You know what I mean? Those two things can exist at the same time. It's not more so how do I say it? One or the other particularly. I do believe that those two things can be done at the same time. I do believe you can love your kids more than life itself and still wake up some mornings just mentally exhausted. You know what I mean? I know you can love your partner and still feel emotionally empty. You can show up every day, pay the bills, keep the lights on, do what needs to be done, and still feel like you drowning quietly. Like that can happen. And here's where we get stuck. We don't feel allowed to say that out loud. Like we don't think we have that, freedom to do so and say it out loud. I think we think that we just have to kind of keep it sheltered in place and not really say nothing. Because the moment a man admits he's tired, the world starts responding with judgment instead of curiosity, you know? And if you don't know what that looks like, it's when I say that, I mean, it's that, what do you mean you're tired? Like for example, not, well, lately, same difference. I still work two jobs and, I work both of those 4 out of the 5 days out the week and 1 5 days out the week. But previously, prior to me kind of getting my weekends off, I was working 6, sometimes 7 days a week. Even here and now, I can't help but not rest. Like this is the first time I took my actual weekend to myself without having nothing else to do. You know what I mean? That's just how it is. But with all of that being said, I was working maybe 70 to 80 hours a week. And, so it's like, what do you mean you're tired? Like, hey, yeah, I just worked a lot. That's it. What do you mean? What do you mean I'm tired? Or that you wanted this family. Yes, I did. But I think I'm allowed to still have a little break or, get tired. What is it? Other people have it worse. And I am not arguing with that, but I'm not talking about other people right now. I'm more so just talking about me. Or the favorite one that, we've all heard as kids growing up, as a man is man up, or be grateful. Like I never said I wasn't, But instead of speaking as men, we just kind of swallow it. We carry it, we push through. Um, and burnout doesn't disappear when you ignore it. And I'll be completely honest, you would think it does, but it just changes shape. It doesn't disappear at all. Um, Let me tell you what it turns into. It turns into irritation. It turns into snapping over small things, emotional distance. You know what I mean? It turns into silence, or it turns into just shutting down instead of opening up. That's what it looks like. There's different forms to what it may be. And then people start asking, "What's wrong with him lately?" Like, but nobody asks, how long has he been holding everything together by himself? Today's show is not about blaming your family. It's not about complaining about responsibility. It's about naming something real that men are experiencing every day, but rarely get permission to talk about. Burnout doesn't mean you don't love your family. Burnout means you've been carrying too much without enough release. Okay. And if we don't talk about it, men we just burn out. We break. That's the crazy thing about it. We don't just burn out, we also can break. So today we're going to talk about male burnout, what it actually looks like, what good men feel guilty for being tired or why they feel guilty for being tired, how silent exhaustion damages relationships, and how to reset without abandoning the people you love, right? There's a pretty, what do I want to say? Pretty much just because you're tired, you don't have to just abandon your loved ones in order to kind of get a release or a break, anything like that. We'll talk about it. If you listening right now and you're thinking this feels like you talking directly to me, just stay with me. Like you're not weak, you're only human. So let's just talk about it. You know what I mean? Let's just talk about it. Let's get the conversation going. Um, let's start here. Because a lot of men don't even realize they're burnt out, we tell ourselves, "Oh, I'm just tired." That thing. I'm just tired. I'm just tired. I just need a day off. Or it's just a little bit of stress is overwhelming me right now. But burnout isn't being tired. Burnout is prolonged responsibility without recovery. That's what that is. Burnout is when rest doesn't actually refresh you anymore. when sleep doesn't fix it, when time off doesn't feel like enough. For men, burnout rarely shows up as sadness. It shows up as irritation. You know how that goes. As frustration, silence, numbness. It shows up as snapping at your kids and hating yourself afterwards, or emotionally checking out of conversations. It shows up as staying busy so you don't have to feel. It shows up saying I'm fine when you're really not. And here's the dangerous part to it all. Here's the dangerous part to it that really we don't understand until a later time. Because men are conditioned to be functional, not healthy, burnout often gets praise. I I was like, man, you know what? It's crazy to realize that, because it's like, oh yeah, everyone can tell me I'm a good man and how hard I work. Everyone can give me that conversation or that statement or compliment. And I appreciate it every single time, but that praising is just like, okay, I got to keep going because I can't let everybody down. And you just still working, you're still providing, you're still showing up. So nobody notices how exhausted you are. Like, we want to hold this image of how strong we are, and ourselves as men, we don't even notice it. Ain't that crazy? We don't even notice it until our patience is gone, or our joy is gone, or our emotional tank is empty. That's when we notice it. It's crazy that burnout isn't really loud. It's quiet. It really is. It's the slow erosion of who you are. When you start feeling like, man, I don't do this no more. I don't do that no more. Like, I used to go out and do this. I used to go out and do that. Or I used to, have this on every Thursday, this on every Monday. Like, and then you realize that I just work and come home. That's my life. If that's it, whatever the case may be, you just feel like life is just like, it's this replay. I was saying at one point, I feel like a cartoon character. It's just like the same thing going on in life every day. And I'm not upset about it because, one, it shows stability. And we all know that, I'm happy to see what stability actually looks like, especially on a level where you're, married with kids. Like, come on now. Come on now. Like, I can't be upset over something I kind of want it to be. So you have to kind of, you know what? Better yet. Let's talk about the part that men feel the most guilt about, and then we'll circle back. Okay. Of course, as men, we love our family. So why do we feel drained? Huh? Why do we feel so exhausted and tired? Because love doesn't erase exhaustion. Love is great. Love is amazing, but it does not erase exhaustion. You can be grateful and still be overwhelmed, right? Like, let's not forget that. You can be super grateful and still be overwhelmed with everything. So you can be blessed and still be burnt out, right? Highly favored. Um, we carry this internal conflict where we feel like admitting exhaustion means we're ungrateful. But gratitude doesn't cancel struggle. That's what I'm learning. Gratitude cannot and will not cancel out struggle, which is a great thing. I'm happy about that, right? But it's hard to realize what that truly means. And the truth is, many men carrying responsibilities. We were never really taught how to emotionally manage those, right? You're expected to provide, protect, lead, be strong, be stable, be dependable, be reliable, right? That's what we're taught to do. So if we're taught to do all of this, why is nobody teaching us how to safely release that pressure? How to safely release it all so we don't absorb every single thing. You know what I mean? Like, and instead of saying, I need support, we say, I'll handle it. I'll figure it out. I'll figure something out until one day you just can't. And it could be the smallest thing that probably on any given day you can figure out with the snap of your finger. But it's just at that point you at your breaking point where you're like, you know what? I can't do this. I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna get done. I don't know. I don't know. And you probably still figure it out eventually. But because of that exhaustion, you have to take a pause and a break because so much going on, so overwhelmed. You just it's like again overwhelmed. You're just overloaded. You overloaded. You know, and then you feel guilty for feeling tired of a life you love. That guilt will keep us silent as men, super silent. And silent keeps burnout alive. That silence will do nothing but keep the burnout there. There's like nothing that's going to change it because we're continuously worried about keeping it in and not just allowing ourselves to open up and talk about it. I am truly learning that, expressing yourself throughout times like this as a man, especially to your loved ones and family, is very, very important to you, to your growth and theirs in a way. Especially because I have two boys, man. I wake up every day thinking of how I can lead and show for my children to just see progress, to see growth, to see me do better, to see me be better. I just want to know how I can get there in a healthy way because I'm gonna make mistakes along the way. But as a man, I don't want my boys, especially growing up, not knowing how to properly release things like that. So if I can work through it now and they can see me work through it, even better. Even better. Because when it's time for them to do it, they know they can come to me and we can have that conversation and we'll find the best route to what'll work for them. Because everything that works for me may not work for them growing up. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with finding out what works best for them. I don't care if I love basketball. If my son wants to play soccer or football, guess what he's playing? Soccer or football. It is what it is. I'm not gonna halt his or stop his growth over something he cares and loves about over me. Hey, my life as a kid trying to play sport, it is over with, okay? I'll play sports with my son. With my son. I'll play whatever he wants to play with. Oh, thank you, thank you. Enjoy your week as well. You stay safe. I appreciate you. All the way from Canada. Thank you for that. That's dope. See? Everybody's tuning in. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all for sure, for sure. Um, so burnout doesn't come from one bad week. I hope y'all know that, right? I was thinking that a burnout is meaning I had a couple or a few bad days and it just got a little bit too much and it just kind of, I got irritated. But what I didn't realize is over the last few months, there have just been small things building up, stacking up under those bigger things that kind of may have set the trigger more so to say, more or less. Um, it comes from years, years, years of pressure, years of responsibility, years of emotional neglect, sometimes self neglect. I'm not too afraid to admit that there have been times that I've self neglect. There are still times I do it and I'm working on being better at it. Many men listening are carrying things deeper than today's stress. It didn't just come from this morning. Unresolved grief, I have went to therapy and counseling for the grief of my brother. I assume I have done the best to deal with that grief because of how well I can deal with that situation and conversate and dwell on the moments now about it. But who's to say that's the only bit of grief I have in my life? You know what I mean? Childhood trauma, which I'm never going to turn that away because I'm always working on my childhood trauma to heal from it. It's so much, it was so much before, and now it's just a lot. So I'm dealing with it. I'm working on it. I'm growing. I'm trying to, growing up without a father. I told y'all he was a magician. He had the best disappearing act. You know what I mean? Only thing I knew was his name is Willie. Will he come back? I don't know. I don't know. Never seeing healthy emotional expression modeled. You know, most men I grew up around, I seen them dealing with it like that, chin up, chest out. You got it. You got it. And I'm trying to teach my boys to be better than that. You know what I mean? You can be chin up, chest out, but let's talk about what's going on. And now you're raising children while trying to heal wounds you never had space to acknowledge. I can't tell you how grateful I am for my children to the fact that not only have they taught me so much more patience in life, but they have taught me so much more about myself in life. Not only have they done that, they've helped me grow in so many ways that I've never thought I can grow as a man in general, not just as a father. And because of that, I will forever be grateful to them, which is why I will forever try to do my best to lead them and protect them as they carry on through this lifetime. You're not just tired from today, though. You're not. You're tired from a lifetime of carrying without being checked on. And because men are taught to endure instead of process, the weight just stacks up. It just keeps going quietly, though. Like you don't even see it there. You know what I mean? Until the body, the mind, or the relationship starts to crack. Once that happens, you start to realize something is wrong, but I don't know what. We're like, oh, I've fallen and I can't get up. You know what I mean? Because you don't know how to get up from something. You don't even know what the problem is. Burnout doesn't always look like anger, honestly. It doesn't always look like anger. Sometimes it looks like distance. Men who are burnt out stop initiating connection. How many of y'all can tell me that isn't the case, or you haven't wondered why you stopped initiating connection, or why you stopped trying to mix and mingle, or whatever the case may be? It's not because we don't care, it's just because we're depleted. We don't have enough energy to do it. We've exhausted it all. Let's put it like this. A lot of men, most of y'all can agree, we watch anime or cartoons, and we know that people have things like mana or kai or ki or whatever you want to call it, or their energy levels, but we all know they all have limits. We're not saying people can't go for a long time without limits. Everybody can't be Gojo Satoru. Everybody can't be Gojo with the six eyes and always have unlimited energy, right? What I'm trying to say is sooner or later, no matter what it's going to be, your energy is going to be drained from you putting it out so much without properly replenishing it. That's the issue. That's the issue. We may stop talking. We may stop sharing stuff. We may stop explaining things. We may stop trying to correct things, but not to punish anyone, right? Not to punish anyone, but because they don't have the energy, or we don't have the energy. And from the outside, it looks like we don't care anymore. But on the inside, we are literally just empty. I kid you not. That's all it is. I say that because people think that you can't be empty while you're still showing up. I can. I can show up still. I just may not look as bright as I am. You may say, hey, something's off about you today. Or you may see something different. Like normally, hey, if I'm coming in, normally I wear a tie every day. But if I don't have a tie on that day and I'm letting the neck breathe, maybe it's something different. Maybe, hey, you know what? I was so overwhelmed. I forgot to grab a tie before leaving home. Who knows what it could be. But burnout creates misunderstandings, resentment, emotional walls that you just keep building around everybody when they ain't even really done nothing to you. You just ain't been taking care of yourself like you should, you know? The longer it goes unspoken, the more damage it does. And we all know none of us likes, wants to make the damage worse than what it is. Burnout doesn't destroy families. Remember that. Burnouts is not what's going to be destroying the family. What's destroying it is the fact that we're burnt out, but we're too proud, I would say. We're too proud to express and explain that I'm just burnt out. I'm just tired. I'm so exhausted. I got a lot going on. I just Every time I turn around, I gotta figure it out. Burnout is not the killer itself. It's the fact that we won't speak up, especially to the people we care, because you never know who is there willing to make sure they can help you through a situation. I I told a friend that I was just tired. I was just exhausted. My friend pulled up on me, picked me up. We went and played video games, played a couple board games or card games with some other friends, and came back home, called it a day. And it was nice because I was like, I'm not like out in a crowded place because I got a social battery now, right? With everything I do. So I'm not in a crowded place. I'm with few friends. We just doing something simple and enjoying life, having fun and enjoying it. And it was just because I opened up and said, like, man, I'm overwhelmed. And it gave me time out to realize that I not only did I need rest, but I needed to find a way to release some of that pressure that was built up that's still there. And I'm doing it. I'm working on it so far. I've just been so patient with things and taking more time with things so that way I can kind of just, woosah, you know. Um, right now I want to open up the space. Like, if you're listening and you're carrying something heavy that nobody ever checks on you, this is your moment. This is your moment. Like, you don't have to fix it today. You don't have to explain everything perfectly. I just want you to acknowledge it. Acknowledge that something is there, something is eating you up, something is going on, and there's something that you just kind of want to change and fix. Something that you kind of want to do better with the situation. I want you to try resetting without really walking away. Okay. Um, I want to say, let's talk about some solutions to what that could possibly look like for some people. Because healing doesn't mean abandoning responsibility, right? That doesn't mean you have to just completely walk away from everything you've been building and working on and working hard at, if I must say. It means learning how to release pressure before it destroys you. Because let's be honest, if I probably would have kept going down this little path, it probably would have just kept messing with me mentally. I would have probably just started forgetting, not doing things properly, not handling my responsibilities as well as I should. Um, Things of that nature, waiting to the last minute to do stuff, and it would just be horrible to really like go down that path when I could honestly just start speaking up and expressing what's bothering me, why it's bothering me, where it's coming from, and what can possibly be done to make it better or to get, change about it or to help working on it. Um, but if I don't say nothing, nobody knows anything. Nobody understands that I need assistance because I'm too busy keeping that prideful look like, hey, you know what? I'm good. I got this. I got this. No, 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 you good. No, don't help me out. I got this. Oh, you got an easier way to do it? No, 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 no. I'm gonna hop over the wall. You ain't gotta open the gate. That's what it looked like. That's crazy to keep doing that. When you have people around you that love and care about you that will easily help you get through these situations, navigate through the best way possible. For example, today I low key stressed out about picking my kids up from school because I was running a little late at work trying to take care of a few things so that way I can make sure my day is set and I've checked off everything that I needed to check off in my book. Okay. With doing that, I noticed that the time was a little late and I called my mom at first because I was going to have her go grab the kid. She's like 5 minutes away from the school. I'm like 15 minutes away at work. So I'm telling her what's going on. And within about 7 to 10 minutes of me calling her, but we already in the car now. She called me back and she's like, "Hey, did you get him? Because I can go grab him." She wanted to make sure I had a way to get him. She gave me time and then she called back to give me a way to help out. And even though that would have helped me, I was like, I appreciate it, but we're already on the way. Thank you so much. That alone is like, even if I needed it, it was there. I had help. All I had to do was speak up and say something. Instead of me just like being quiet about the fact that they finna get out of school and I'm late, I spoke up and I got some help. I could have got one more thing done at work if I needed to, you know what I mean? Um, but I'm happy to know that I've been working on expressing to my family, friends, and loved ones when I do need help and assistance. Part of my childhood trauma is the fact that I have had to deal with the fact of figuring it all out on my own for so much that I don't really know how to go to people and say, "Hey, I need help with this. Can you help me with that?" Which is simple like that, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know. I figure like I have to. I feel like if I go to them and ask, they're gonna be irritated by me asking and not want to help me out. Ain't that crazy? It's trauma, man. It's just therapy. Therapy. um, Teaches you a lot about yourself. So part of my childhood trauma is the fact that because when I tried to do it growing up, nobody was around to help me. Nobody felt like they wanted to help me. I grew up thinking that anytime I'd ask for help, I'd immediately be turned down. And I have to deal with that on a personal level. I have to work on that daily, every day. I have to work on that because I'm in an environment, especially with my career. I'm in an environment where I have people around me that want me to succeed. They want me to succeed in a way that I've never even saw myself succeeding. And I appreciate that. I really do. So I'm happy about it. I'm hoping that, I can continue to grow in my career, continue to be better in that. Appreciate the people around me for sure. Thankful for them. But I'm telling you, that's one of the things of my childhood that I have to deal with from trauma that I'm working on getting through and getting better at. I'm getting better at showing up and showing out now instead of worrying about the fact that I may not be showing up enough, right? Or just enough to get by. I mean, sorry, let me take that back. I mean that saying I used to be a really good kid in school, man. I mean, I've always a good kid, right? But I used to be like a straight A student, like AB honor roll and stuff like that. Student of the month, awards. But as a child, getting those kind of awards, I've talked about this before on the show. I never really had anyone show up there for me, right? Dad wasn't around; he was a magician. Mom had to work, and she was working during school hours to make sure her schedule balanced with ours. So can't be mad there. But as a kid, having multiple award ceremonies and nobody showing up, nobody there. You watching other kids with their families getting their awards, eating pizza and stuff with their families. It does something to you mentally. It just makes you feel like no matter how much you succeed, especially when you have siblings that are not doing great in school and probably are bad or not doing what they should be doing or handling responsibilities, and they end up getting everything they want, but you end up getting ignored. So it does something to you, obviously, as it has done to me. And you kind of have to work through that and get through it. I've been working through it and working on it because I would do enough just to get by in life, realizing that it's from my childhood trauma of every time I did succeed or every time I did do better, nobody showed up for me. Nobody was there. Nobody came to my, arrival to acknowledge how well I was doing. So it just made me feel like, what's the point of succeeding when the ones who won't even go above and beyond get whatever they want, I'll just do enough to get by too. And that traveled over into my adult life that I would just do enough to get by. I would work a lot, yeah, but working a lot, I feel like there were some times where if I would have put a little more effort into things, I probably would have went a lot further with them. But I just wanted to make sure I did enough to stay under the radar. I didn't want to be stood out. I didn't want to be, and that was from again my early 20s. I was a young manager at a cell phone store in my early 20s. And because I was so young being a store manager, there were so many doubts and questions and, you know, people hoping I failed, because I was so young as a manager that it made me feel like, maybe I don't want to be in the spotlight. Granted, the six out of I took that store. I'm proud to say this because they got it on record. They can't deny it. I took that store from the bottom of the barrel out of all the stores in Las Vegas. I took that one from the bottom store to the number one location 6 months out of the 7 months I was there. Why not the seven? Because I was only there for about a week for the seventh month that I was there, and I went to another location. That's why. But I was a young manager and I did my thing. I handled my business. But because of the amount of pressure I felt at a young age, because people always looked at me like, why is he a manager? He's only 20, 21. Well, no, 20. Let me see. When I lost my brother, I was 20 years old. I was 20. I was 20 years old. Young man, I was ambitious. You know what I mean? I wanted it. I wanted it, and I did great at it. But because of all of that pressure I got from everybody around me and everybody above me, I had to do nothing but just keep showing them I could do my job, and I did it well month after month. Time after time, I did it. I did it. Proud of myself for that. Proud of myself for that. Um, but I just wanted to explain that because, like, even I have things from my childhood. All of us, we got things from our childhood. We got things from probably relationships, current relationships, past relationships, things with families, things with friends that we got to resolve, man. We have all kind of things to get through. But when that burnout is there, if we don't speak up about what's bothering us and what's going on, we're going to continue to fall, 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 fall. It's horrible. Eventually, there's going to be a fall that is going to take you some time getting up from because of it. I'm just being honest with you, just being sincere. You need to understand that, sorry, rest is really not laziness. You know, that's why I say that because healing doesn't, mean abandoning responsibility. It means learning how to release pressure before it destroys you. Rest is not laziness, and asking for help is not weakness. It's not. It's not. Needing support does not make you less of a man. Do y'all know that? Ain't nobody on this earth got by without nobody's help. I don't care what you say. They've had help from somebody doing something. I'm just being honest. You don't need you don't need to just disappear in order for you to heal. You don't need to go ghost, to prove your power. No pun intended. Um Sometimes the reset looks real small. You know what I mean? Talking to one trusted person, moving your body, letting yourself feel instead of pushing it down, seeking therapy without shame. Like, you got to understand if let's go back on that. Talking to one trusted person, I'm going to tell y'all a therapist. Somebody tell you find a close friend. It may work for you, it may not. I'll say a therapist, somebody professional, somebody licensed, you know? Um, moving your body. Do you know what that means? Like the gym, walking around, start taking walks, start riding the bike, something like that. Small little thing you pick up. Letting yourself feel instead of pushing it down. So you going through something, go through it. A wise person once told me you got to go through it to get through it. You do. You got to go through it to get through it. So go through it. Let it go through, stop trying to hide it and push it down into a box. Because pretty soon that box is going to get stuffed and then it's just going to explode with everything. You ain't going to be able to do nothing at that point. Um, and of course, seeking therapy without shame. One, don't listen to people that ain't went to therapy. Don't listen to people that ain't tried therapy. Two, don't listen to people that went to therapy and didn't want it to actually work, didn't want to put in the effort to be there. Listen to yourself. Go to your therapist, go find a therapist, talk to them, get what you got to get out. Don't be afraid and ashamed to seek therapy because you're going through something. Lead by example. I thought we were supposed to be leaders, not followers. Lead by example. In all fairness, lead by example. Your family don't need a perfect man. Ain't no such thing. You know what I mean? When he's talking about Jesus and God themselves, ain't no such thing as a perfect man. They need a present one, you know? And presence requires care for yourself and them. Care. You cannot feel like you are about to be able to care and show sympathy and empathy, or not even sympathy, show empathy to your family and loved ones and friends, and you're not taking care of yourself. I have been weaning myself off of caffeine And I don't know if I'm going forward or backwards, but I think I'm doing a good job. I think I'm now on week number 9, 8 or 9. I'm not having any single energy drink, right? 2 months strong, baby. 2 months strong. The last week or two, I have been having cravings, and instead of those cravings taking over, I have kind of went to coffee, you know, on this. Typically something light or a chai or half calf or decaf if I can. And then pretty soon I'm going to be able to stop the coffee. I didn't like coffee at all, but if I need a caffeine boost, I'd rather drink the coffee than keep going back to energy drinks. It'll help me stay up throughout the day and night, so I'll be okay, but I'll be able to go to sleep tonight and I'll be good. I'll get some more rest and go to sleep early, go to sleep pretty early. But I just want people to understand that rest and the burnout, like, just because if we didn't took here's I feel like I could have took 5 days off. But even with me taking those 5 days off, I feel like I could have slept every single day. And guess what? Sleeping every day, I would have woke up and still would have been tired and exhausted. I think I would have still been burnt out because life would have still been going. It would still have been going. But over the past 5 days, I've been able to let out so much release that it just feels great to be able to do so completely. It feels amazing. So I'm happy about that. I have no complaints there, no complaints there. Um, but I had to learn that just because I got a day worth of sleeping didn't mean that I was going to be okay. Just because I got a weekend to myself didn't mean I was going to be okay. Just because I took a month off wouldn't have meant I would be okay. I think the issue is talking about and dealing with the things that are going on in a healthier way than keeping them locked up until it's absolutely needed to talk about them, you know? So I'm working on that. I'm working on that. I'll do better at it, right? I work on it and do better all the time. As you know, I'm going to try to learn and grow with you all. As you learn and grow with me, I'm going to do the same, give you the same respect you give me. But as we close today, give me a few minutes here to acknowledge this. I want to leave every man listening with this. You are more than what you provide, hands down. You are more than how much you endure. Absolutely. You are more than how much you can carry without breaking. Most definitely. You do not have to blend in. You do not have to bleed silently to be a good man. Absolutely not. Taking care of yourself is not selfish. Not at all, in no way, shape, or form. You have to, in order to take care of everyone around you. So it's not selfish at all. It is survival, but that's the one thing we all have in common as human beings. That's the one trait we all have in common. Survival. And your survival matters. It really does. Because you matter, whether you know it or not. Whether you want to see it or acknowledge it, you matter to people around you more than you think. Because I guarantee you, if you show concern or if you let the people that you love know that you have issues going on, they will show nothing but absolute concern and compassion to help you get through it. I believe we know who we can and who we can't, or should or shouldn't talk to and express things to in a way. And if all else fails, I believe we should find therapy to at least start somewhere. I'm just being honest. If today's show resonated with you, don't ignore that feeling. Sit with it for as long as you need, just not too long, okay? Talk about it as soon as you can, but in a healthy way, in a productive way. Do something small to care for yourself this week. Could be the most simple thing. Mine was I went and cut my hair. I ain't really finished with the lineup yet, but I got it good enough to get on camera. Because strong men don't pretend they're okay. I'll tell you that now. There's too much energy in pretending. I'm telling you that. That's why you're so exhausted. That's why we get so exhausted. Strong men take responsibility for their healing. We take accountability for it, ownership, and we deal with it in the best way we can, in the most healthy way we can, in the most productive way we can. The issue is most people think you can heal through violent and aggressive ways, or how do I say it? Unhealthy ways. And no, you can't. Not at all. You cannot heal in unhealthy ways. What you do is you create more toxic patterns, and then you're looking like, man, I'm in quite the pickle now, ain't I? What the happened? What's going on? What's the issue? Only to find out everything you are going through is everything you are putting yourself through. You're not dealing with the things you should be dealing with in the healthy and productive way. Okay? I just I know things can get tough, things can get rowdy, things can get rough around the edges. But if we continue to fall into these toxic cycles and toxic patterns, I don't believe we will fully be able to get through these situations in a healthy way, to where we are not damaging or affecting the people around us, whether that be your kids, friends, your family, coworkers, whatever the case may be. Um, you create certain doubts for yourself and others. And what I mean by that is, if you normally show up to work at 9 a.m. every day, you come in a week late, 10 o'clock, they gonna start doubting if you're gonna really start being on work on time now, because you done got comfortable enough to come in an hour late. To hell with the fact that for the last 8 years you've been here at 9 every day. Why you got the comfortability of coming in late so much? That's what they're gonna start thinking about, Little doubt, little things matter. So you don't want to go down unhealthy patterns and cycles when we see things start to go a certain way, when we see a pattern or something going a certain way, we want to logically create a way out. We want to create a fail safe, I'll say, for the lack of a better word. We want to create something that's kind of like, this is my plan B, so to say. And doing that, maybe we should do it in a way of these are my options. Look at each option, look at how it will affect you, look at how it'll affect the people around you, and weigh out if it's worth it. What's the best option to go with and to deal with it? Because just continuing to choose the same option over an unhealthy cycle, time and time and time again, I don't think we really get nowhere with that. You know what I mean? We got to find a better route around it. So, kind of look at the other options, see what you can do from there, and choose a better path. But I do want to thank you all so much for listening. Really, I do. Just want to say again, man, yeah, that burnout is extremely deep, and it's something that we got to kind of work on. You know what I mean? Take care of yourselves. Please take care of yourselves and each other, right? Let's try to help take care of each other. But I appreciate y'all for coming out again and talking to me on this wonderful Wednesday afternoon, everybody. You're talking to me on the hottest radio station on the planet, I appreciate you. I'll see y'all again next week on Hot 702.5 FM. Peace, love, and hair grease. I'll catch y'all next week.
Hi. Hey.
What's up? All your favorite artists.
Check it out. Say my name. DJ Khaled. This is Mila J.
Bruno Mars. On hot 7025fm.com.